And let's continue on with thing number 2. So, okay. Thing number 2. I have my fancy overhead camera working. So you guys are going to be super excited about that. But first I wanted to show you. So I'm going to turn on my overhead camera. Let's see. And we've been working on this really cool, in my idea. Oh, I don't have triangle, a 60-degree triangle log cabin. So when I say log cabin, this one all has the same center except for this one here. So just to point out on this one, I have started with this triangle here. Then I've added this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. There's a tiny little one right there, and then a big one. So I really love making log cabins. So I wanted to show you today how to do a 30-degree, right? 30-degree, yeah. So this is 30 degrees. And we do have instructions for this as well that are already on the website, thanks to Allie. So I want to show you what I've done with triangle log cabins in the past. I kind of did it quickly, but I just want to show you. So this is a quilt that I entered into QuiltCon a few years back. And it had a lot of meaning to it. So I started this other one first. So we'll talk about the meaning of that one in a second. So I started this one first. That one was that same fabric that I just showed on the screen. So this one I started first. I just really loved, oh man, I think I've told you before, but here in, let's see, here in Utah, our winters can be kind of grody. Like it can get kind of gross in the winter, especially January after Christmas is over. I just get way depressed. So I just needed something to cheer me up. And I had been working on other projects like squares, and I was going to just do another log cabin. I went to the local fabric store and I bought like hot pink. Well, those colors right there. I bought solids in hot pink. There's that one there. Let's see. Hot pink, fluorescent yellow, and orange. I just needed some sunshine in my life, you know? And so I started doing squares and I thought, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to do like a triangle instead. So I started working on these triangle blocks. And I just really love the process. I love the process of making blocks. So when I get down, or if I just need to pick me up, I will just sit down and I'll just start sewing. Just the process of pushing fabric through the machine, it just gives me a lift. I love it. So I did this top first. And of course I had to go by the fabric store. I had to go buy more, you know, and I added some golds. And I really like, when I do a project like this, I like to set up some rules for myself. So on this one, it was hot pink, hot yellow, hot orange. But then as I was going through, I thought, okay, well, like this one here, it's almost green. Like this is from like Cotton Steel, I think, a few years ago. And it is super, I don't know if you guys can see, but it's almost green. But I thought, okay, I like to set some rules and like to push the boundaries of that rule. Does that make sense? So I'll say yellow, orange, pink, but then I'll go, okay, how close to red can I get on the, that orangey spectrum? And how close to green can I get on the yellow spectrum? So I just like to push my boundaries a little bit. So set some rules, then push the boundaries on that rules. That makes sense? So I did this one first, and then I didn't get it quilted. And I had the idea for this quilt here. And this quilt I've talked about a lot in the past. If you've watched any like handy quilter videos or something, but I was having a rough time, and I survived the rough time. We'll just suffice it to say that. But I decided to do a black and white. I just want to do like a shades of gray quilt. So I call it my 50 Shades of Gray, but that's kind of blah, blah, whatever. So I did the same thing. I did a triangle log cabin. I started with black in the center, and I moved to grays, and I ended up eventually, there are some whites. Now, if I was to make this over again, I wouldn't put that, I wouldn't make that white hexagon shape there at the upper right-hand corner. I probably wouldn't do that again. I wanted the feeling of this to be like light piercing through the darkness, or light piercing through the clouds. And again, it was very symbolic for me. And I entered it into QuiltCon, and I got juried into QuiltCon in Pasadena. So this is me in QuiltCon in Pasadena with my quilt there. So next, I want to show you this one. So this is one I saw on Instagram, and her handle is Film in the Fridge, and I followed her for a long time. I really like her style, but you've seen that she's basically done the same thing. I wish I had a way to point her or something, but you can see she started with a triangle, and then she added a stripe on each side, and then she added another stripe on the other side on each side. So essentially, she was doing a triangle log cabin, right? I'm going to check your comments. And I love that. I love what she's done there. So I had the idea of doing a 30 degree log triangle, but I wanted to do like water. I wanted the feeling of water. So I chose all these watercolors, colors of water. And this little one I did as a kind of a study, just to practice putting it together and then seeing how I could put the different shapes together. I mean, the different blocks together. And I actually gave this to, I did exchange this in a gift exchange, a mini exchange for the Modern Quilt Guild. And then she took it home and she hung it up on her wall like this. And I thought, that's so interesting that my perspective was this and her perspective was this. I just thought that was kind of interesting. So this block is what I'm going to show you today. And I'm going to take my time with it. And we're going to go through step by step sewing a 30-degree triangle log cabin. And to get you to stick around, I'm going to talk about what we're going to do with these blocks. If you want to make one with me, I want to assemble them into a big quilt. So stick around and see what we're going to do with it, okay? So I'm going to hide this really quickly. Well, I'm going to leave that for a second. So this is what we're doing here. A 30-degree triangle log cabin. And before you ask, yes, the instructions for this are on the Daily Deal page today. Allie put them up. So we do have instructions that you can print off for this, but it's pretty easy. So first I'm going to start with I'm to create this center triangle that looks something like this. I'm going to start with I'll do this one. I'm going to start with a 2.5-inch strip. I'm just going to look at this. Love this water quilt. Thank you. She saw mountains where you saw water. Yeah. Deborah says, modern quilting is my favorite. I've attended QuiltCon when I was in Austin. Yep, I was there 2 years ago in Austin. I love it. If you haven't had a chance to go to QuiltCon, it's a pretty cool show to see what they create. So I have my 2.5-inch strip. It's not pressed, unfortunately, but that's okay. We're going to keep moving on. So I'm going to fold it in half, and I want to have 10 inches. So I have 10 inches right there. Okay, you guys, I'm going to press it really quick. So I have at least 10 inches on this strip, and I'm going to cut diagonally 1 to 10 inches, 1 inch to 10 inches. So does that make sense? I'm going to I'm laying my ruler. P.S. This is our other daily deal. Oh, it's a secret. I'll get to that. So I have this ruler, Quilter Select. It has a 30-degree marking on it. But first I'm going to create a set of triangles. So I put my 1 right here and my on the 10 line right there. So exactly 10 inches diagonally. And I'm just going to cut there. Then I'm going to turn. Okay, I'm going to cut this off at 10 inches. Hold on. It's easiest if it has exactly 10 inches, right? Oh, wait. Yeah. It'll be a little less than 10 inches, right? When you go diagonally. I'm going to cut that off there. Then I'm going to lay this one again, 10 inches diagonally. Oh, stay there. Stay there, little guy. Laying my ruler down on there. And I'm going to cut diagonally that way. There I've created these 2 triangles, which are going to be my center triangle. Okay? And I have 4 of them. So I'm going to grab another strip of 2.5 inches. Okay, I'll show you. This is my colorway for this quilt. Okay, so I bought 3 jelly rolls, all shades of blue from I think 3 different companies, and I just was mixing them all together. So some are a little more on the purple side, some are a little more on the way green side, obviously, but I really don't care. I just want to look watery, and I'm trying to do the same shades on the same block. So I'm going to make a lot of blocks that are this shade and a lot of blocks that are kind of a mix, so that I want it to be like a gradation. So kind of a darker to lighter. And this one I kind of think of, I want it to look like when you're imagining, when you see those pics of underwater, under the ocean and looking up to the light. So I want to see that light at the top of the ocean. Okay. So I'm just going to grab a color and this is really dark, which that's okay. I'm going to do that one. So I have my 2.5 inch strip, and what I like to do is lay this down, and I just lay one edge on my fabric there. And I'm going to sew along this line. Now, just like we did before with the 60 degree, I need to make sure that when I open it up, it's going to have enough room to go there. This way is more the biggest one because it's going to go, you know what I mean? I need to have that much. Let's see. Whoa. I need to have that much fabric when I open it up, right? So I lay that down, and then I'm just going to stitch it. I'm going to move my camera over. This time I'm on the Altair, the Baby Lock Altair. And we have an event, our Kimberbell event tomorrow. So I'm just using the same machine they're going to be using tomorrow for that. But this machine, love it. So let's do a little 1/4 inch seam there. And I got to turn my machine on and tell it what I'm doing. Okay, so you can see I just did my 1/4 inch seam there. And then I will just quickly press it. I didn't realize if I stood up that you only see chest. Sorry about that. And I'm just going to press it like so. Okay, can you see that? Then I'm going to do a trim. And I'll grab some other color so you can see it better.
They sent me back to the no man's land.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm wondering, I left my machine here this morning to be repaired. Did you leave these with it?
Is that the one with the bag?
With what?
Was that the juvenile?
Yeah. Yeah, we leave.
I have.
All right, so I have my seam there. And then I'm going to trim this because I only want this to be 1.5 inches. So I'm going to use my ruler. And I know it's kind of wasting a little bit of fabric, but this, with doing it at this angle, there is a lot of stretch. And oh, I like to use starch. I have my best press over here. I just like to use some starch so it doesn't stretch out away too much. I probably could do this with paper piecing, but I'm not a paper piecer. So I'm going to line up that. I'm going to cut 1.5 inches. And then I have my first unit there. So there's two, one with either side. I'm going to see if you check the the comments really quick. Okay. Awesome. So then I want to add another strip on this side here. So I have this color here. It's watery. It'll be cute. So to do that next one, I'm going to lay that down on there. And when I sew, I love to just string piece. I like to sit and just push things through the machine. Like, does anybody else like just piecing like that, or am I goofy? I don't know. I love just the feeling of like just relaxing, sitting down, turning on some music or movie that I've watched 100 times, and just pushing those through the project and through the machine. Okay, so I have that lined up. I'm going to sew that seam now. And on these, I just want to make sure they're not pulling too much because of that angle. But the starch does help that a lot. There we go. I'm going to show you how I press it. And this one, I'm just going to press this way just to kind of keep it. So like so, right? Give a little spritz of And then I'm ready to trim. Patricia says, yes, I like to piece that way. I used to know Patricia Brand. Oh, I knew Patricia Banford. Sorry. Betty says, I like to string piece and listen to YouTube videos. Me too. It's the best. Okay. I'm going to trim this one. So again, I'm just going to line up that ruler with the top of that. And then this one, I'm going to line up the ruler this way. And this time, okay, I'm just going to line up the ruler that way. So you'll notice right here, so if I was to do this, want to use this whole piece, see how I wouldn't have enough right there? I didn't leave it quite long enough, but since I'm cutting it off, I'll have plenty of fabric there. And then this is where it's nice to have that 30-degree ruler. So I line the 30-degree up line with that. And I just move the ruler down. So can you see that on camera well enough there? I have my 30-degree lined up here with the edge of this fabric. And then I'm just going to move it so that I'm cutting off 1.25 inches. I mean, no, sorry. So I'm leaving 1.25 inches. Does that make sense? I have to fudge a little bit. So, like so. Then I'm going to lay this piece down on my next piece. So I will, oops. I'm going to do this darker one again. I'm just going to give that a little press. So then I can sew on that seam there, right? Patricia asks, when you press, what did you spritz with? I have a little bit of Best Press right there. Best Press. So I just use a little Best Press. So I'm going to stitch that one down. Then I'm going to press that one open. Yeah, Carol says 1 1/4 inch of the current strip. Yeah, exactly. So measuring from the seam. Oops. So can you see that all right? And I think my angle on my original one is off a little bit, but I'm just going to make it work so that it's 30 degrees. So I'm going to do this one first. You know, line up with that seam better. So that one's trimmed off better. So again, I have my 30-degree triangle, my 30-degree ruler there. I think my original one didn't work, wasn't quite right. So this isn't looking exactly perfect. Or it is, right? That's the fun of improv, you guys. You just make it work, and it's just fun. Someone says, okay, Valerie says, you have such patience. Well, I'm not sure about that, but thank you. But if you notice there, I can line up my 30 degrees with what I have so far. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's good. It's all good. And then for the final one, I'm going to do this color again. I'm just going to lay that down. Lay that one like so. Stitch that seam there. I'm going to press that. Oh, I forgot to sing. You guys, the other day when Chris was singing as she was sewing, oh, it made me so happy. I love to sing and sew. Well, I like to sing and do a lot of things, but singing and sewing is like literally the best. I'll just pop that over there. So, pressing, set the seam. I'm just going to press it open like so. Now, that is kind of a bulky seam, but you guys, I do not like to press seams open. That does not bring me a lot of joy. If pressing seams open brings you joy, then I, go for it. But not me, sorry. Then I'm going to trim that one off. I'm going to trim this edge off. And then, oh dear. Kathy says, please sing for us. What kind of music do you like? Oh, I kind of like it, all of it. Sandra says, it would flatten help with bulky seams? Oh, I don't know. So I've just been such a make-doer all the time. I don't really think about things like that, like products and stuff that I could use, I guess. So what do I like to sing? I really like Broadway show tunes. I grew up in a music store, so my family owned the local music store in town. See, that's much bigger than what I have there. But those are just too big. Those I just need to trim those on there. So what happened was I made this one too small. But on the instructions, it worked out, I promise.